everyone for all their help, love and enthusiasm, which has been, quite frankly, overwhelming. Everyone has been so wonderful, but there are a few people who have been superstars. So, in no particular order, Dawn, Yvonne and Trudy for helping me with the dresses and talking me through my moments of insanity. My gorgeous bridesmaids, Georgia, Katie and Harriet. Beautiful, beautiful girls.
Here we are.
Katie Hall for making everyone cry at the ceremony. Sam for being an amazing usher today. Good work. Ollie Smith for delivering the rings. Nice work, buddy. Simon, despite thinking I would be running to Leatherhead with my dress tucked in my knickers, the pink jag delivered me in style. So thank you, Simon. The very glamorous Annabelle for all the flowers. Thank you. The A-team, Roger, Nick, Sam, Kate, Yvonne, Bill and Annabelle for making all this happen. They worked hard. Dave's mum, Joyce, for help with the cake and making my day by being here. Thank you. Incredible patience with the ever-changing seating plan. Thank you. And finally, Dave.
Okay, next up is Nikki's sister Dawn.
After 24 long years, it's finally Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I was so happy when Nick and Dave returned to the UK. It was amazing, and to have them living here in this beautiful place has just been fantastic. When Dave asked Nikki to marry him, it was the icing on the cake. And being able to share in their excitement and their planning has been so special, and I feel privileged to have taken part. It was the greatest honour today to take her to the registry office. I can't think of two people better matched or more in love. And I know that our mum and dad and Dave's dad would have been so immensely proud today to see the tenderness, the passion and the devotion you have for each other. Nikki, you are the kindest, most beautiful, most generous person I know. You're my sister and my rock and my best friend. And Dave is your perfect partner. He's your steadfast, committed, compassionate, anchor. I'm very, very delighted to welcome him as my brother-in-law. Thank you.
Live up to my reputation. Right.
very special. Also to Sam, as Nicky said, for being a brilliant usher. To my best man, Rog, for not embarrassing me in his speech. It's got to be worth a try, right? And to my beautiful wife. For all her hard work in putting all this together, and for saying yes. When we announced our wedding day, there was 2 questions that quite a lot of you asked me, which I failed to answer, so I'm going to try and put that right tonight. So the first one was where and how did you propose? Well, that was on top of a mountain, hence the mountain theme to all of the seating arrangements. And I thought, that'll be quite romantic. We're going skiing anyway, so it's got to be quite easy. Wrong. Those of you who ski will know there's a saying called no friends on a pound a day. Those of you who don't ski, it's basically an apology for selfish behaviour. When it's snow's just falling, it's not just about skiing fresh powder, it's about skiing that fresh powder first. So that means at the top of the chairlift, there's no waiting for your ski boots to put the gloves on, tighten the boots, or indeed go down on one knee and say, "Will you marry me?" I'm not sure whether you noticed on the table plan, but our table is Plan de la Masse, where I proposed. Wasn't actually my first choice. Where he ended up, she finally paused long enough for me to pop the question. The second question, which has already been alluded to, is 24 years. Why are we getting married now? Slightly more difficult to answer. All I'm going to say is, I was waiting until we lived somewhere posh enough. Unless any of you haven't picked up, it's 24 years. And that does seem like a long time when you say it, but actually to me, it's flown by. And it's been fantastic. Nicky, if you ask her, will relate back to when we first met and how she feels that she had to make the first move, and that all of her subtle hints, was sort of ignored or not noticed. Subtlety's never been my strongest point, I'll admit. But I had noticed her. Obviously, who wouldn't? I was sort of convinced that she was out of my league, really. 24 years later on, I'm happy to confirm what I suspect most of you already knew. She's definitely out.
You like that, mate?
There's no way I deserve to be married to such a wonderful woman. Beautiful, kind, funny and graceful. Nicky, you are my sunshine. And I'm very happy to bask in your radiance. She did have a good point though about my inability to see things. It means I'm always losing stuff. And it's a problem that I'm always keen to share with her. I've written a small poem about it. called Man Look. Don't see. Nikki, I've lost my keys. I had them 2 minutes ago. Are you sure you haven't got them? I'm going to be late, you know. Nikki, I've lost my glasses. I've just put them down right here. Without them, I can't see a thing. Why do you keep moving still? Nikki, I've lost my way. You're reading the map all wrong. No, I'm not going to ask for directions. We'll just keep driving along. Nikki, I've lost the plot. My temper is starting to fray. Please, will you restore calm before all my hair turns grey? Nikki, I've lost my heart. It was to you as soon as we met. It's happier now in your care, so don't give it back just yet. Well, I've just about held it together, which is about to say unnecessarily. One last job to do before I sit down and shut up, and that is to toast our lovely bridesmaids. Charge your glasses, please. To the bridesmaids. Thank you.
So, my name's Roger and I'm Dave's best man. A lot of you might not know that Dave was my best man at my wedding 20 years ago. And I do remember Dave's very, very funny speech then. He's still capable of that, that's for sure. When I think of his very funny speech about me, one thing instantly springs to mind, and that's revenge. When I say it's just sprung to mind, I've actually been waiting 20 years. Now, just before I get started, I did ask Dave if there was anything that he didn't want me to mention in the speech, and he said no. So, Nikki, this really is Dave's fault. But seriously, Dave's always been quite sensible, and that's made it difficult for me to dig up much dirt to use against him for my speech. So to make my talk more interesting, I've centred it around a fictitious character. Any resemblance between Dave and this fictitious character is purely coincidental. And I'm going to call the fictitious character Dave. We're coming to similar ground to some of the other speeches now. I think this is coming from a different angle, because I remember when Dave first met Nikki, and he was very excited, and he was thinking, you know, she could be the one, and she's interested in me. then Dave's sort of subconscious kicked in and said, "Don't rush, Dave. You know, don't get carried away." Well, Dave didn't rush. So here we are, all celebrating a quarter of a century. Just before I forget, so everyone knows, that Dave has organised a DJ for the part of the celebration, and that's going to be just round there in the Orangery, and that's going to be in March 2017. So, some of you may have noticed there's a projector here, and I'm going to attempt some time travel with some old photographs that I've scanned. But I'm going to put the lights down a little bit. We can leave the middle one on. Leave the young ones.
Oh, it's not working.
Shame.
Dave and his Cena.
This is what television used to look like when we watched it back then. So I'm starting off with a few pictures of when Dave was a student, and that's when I met him. thing, I still am in engineering, and engineering students haven't changed very much at all. I ought to point out this chap here, who's not here, he lives in Mexico now. He was a guy that Dave and I shared a shared student house with, and he's called Gaz. So,
what happened to Gaz?
what did up to? Dave was a very happy student, especially when I had a crate of beer to rest his feet on. Students were not well off, and competition for food was quite this is not a picture I've downloaded off the internet of an episode of The Young Ones. This really was our shared picture. So, now this next picture is going to be almost nothing to anyone except Dave, but this is a speech for Dave, so bloody hell, David! Dave and I joined the Canoe Club, which basically meant lots of pubs and roughing it, surviving the elements in remote campsites. I can't actually recall any canoeing. that didn't seem to matter at the time. And Dave, I'm sure you've still got those trainers somewhere. Now, Dave, this was also a Canoe Club trip, and you can see Dave was always happy to be the centre of attention. And in his enthusiasm to be the centre of attention in this picture, you might notice he's hitting that poor chap in the face. And the slightly more observant might notice that the guy on the other side has been knocked over the seat. This was Dave's bedroom. I've got absolutely no idea what's going on there, but he certainly taught me to knock before entering. This was the start of an evening experimenting with drinking whiskey. Now, Dave's looking very chipper there, but that's not what happened later. It went rapidly downhill. I'm going to leave you to ask Dave about that later, and I'm sure he'll be delighted to tell you all about it. So, as students, it was fun to go out and play in the snow. Of course, the downside of that is one gets very cold. So, when Dave did my best man speech, he ragged me rotten about my poor driving record. But I'd like to remind you, Dave, that your driving record wasn't flawless. Unlike my accidents, your car was repairable, and here's the evidence. Unfortunately, I was there to help the panel beating with the wing. Now, it turns out that professional panel beaters don't use ball peen hammers. Dave had to drive around for a while with a wing that looked like an antique coal bucket, and I never actually apologised for that, Dave, so I'm sorry about that now. So, Dave's very versatile, and he's done quite a lot of things in his career so far. Starting off helping on the family farm, then electronics engineer, and project manager, and general management, then a departure into the holiday industry, and ski chalet hosting, and then yacht chartering and skippering in the Med, and of course things like looking after managing Cherokee with Nicky. But he's taken on a few roles that are less well known. Pictures of those. Whitewater canoe, Olympic whitewater canoeist, hopeful. Holiday hairdresser. Private detective. Spot. Even a stint as Tarzan of the Apes. Now, after all this, David and Nicky were most definitely an item. We did some holidays in Greece doing bareboat yacht charter, which were absolutely fantastic, extremely memorable. This was us in a tavern on the But I did come across this picture one morning. David bow of our boat. And what's going on with these ropes, I'm not sure. It's all a bit suspicious. But you might notice that there don't appear to be any bikini structure. Nikki's back there, so that's a bit of a mystery. What happened to her top? Oh! Well, we're sort of coming onto the home straight now, and I'm going to do something really weird. And I'm going to show you a short clip of Dave doing his best man speech at my wedding. See if I make this technology work.
Finally, Roger's interest turned to Nikki. And during their courtship, this led to one or two interesting phone calls. See, when Roger first met Nikki was Nikki's lodger. And Nikki were good friends with Nikki. Bringing you up for a date with Nikki was some confusion. But as I say, love finds its own way, and it's the outcome of that courtship that we're here to celebrate this afternoon. And I would just like to offer one word of advice to the newlyweds. If in time they are blessed with a daughter of their own, could I possibly suggest Kate?
Well, we were blessed with a daughter of our own. Please can I introduce Kate? I'd also like to introduce my son Sam. We have to name all by ourselves. Now, this is my last picture. This is obviously not a particularly good photograph, and it's certainly not flattering for Dave and Nikki, but it says a lot. This is about 20 years ago. We were all travelling and we were all exhausted. But what it says is, what we've got here are two soulmates, two best friends, and two people who today have finally got round to sorting out their paperwork. So it's coming up to toast time. There's one thing that I want to try and do just before that. Nick, could you get me that? Please be patient for a moment while we just play with a bit more tech and see if we can make it work. Can I just get through that?
Is there an engineer in the house?
Not good, man.
Hello?
Hello, Gaz, you there?
Yeah.
Gaz, you're on air.
Hello from Mexico, everyone. Ben, I really wanted to get over to join you on this wonderful day. But we'll just like now wish you all the very best. I'm sure you're going to have a wonderful life together. I just hope Roger didn't embarrass you too much with his speech. So once again, congratulations to you both. I hope to see you both soon. And that includes you as well, Roger, Nikki. So have a wonderful evening. Love to you all. All the best from Gary and Bear here in Mexico. Hasta la vista, baby!
So I think it must be nearly time for a toast. like to raise my glass in a moment. Once, just Dave and Nikki. Ladies and gentlemen, please raise your glasses. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.